Hello everyone, and welcome back to Whispers of Turkish Stars. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Today, we're stepping into a real-life riddle that has everyone talking, especially fans who follow every detail of a certain beloved duo. The whispers started quietly and then roared, $1 million ring has vanished, and the person at the center of it isn't letting the trail go cold. Yes, you heard that right. What should have been a simple inconvenience has morphed into a suspense-laced chapter straight out of a primetime drama, and at the heart of it all are Gökberk Demirci and Özge Yağız. Before we dive in, if you're new to our community, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We're thrilled you're here. Now, let's get into what happened, why it matters, and what clues are quietly piecing themselves together. The story broke suddenly and immediately dominated timelines. Gökberk, who has been splitting time between Turkey and Italy for various collaborations and appearances, realized that a ring he treasures had disappeared. And we're not talking about an accessory you toss into a drawer. This was a statement piece, unmistakable to anyone who has seen it up close, valuable, yes, but more than that, a symbol with a pulse. It's the kind of ring that carries history, memory, and meaning in its weight. The circumstances were foggy at first, a patchwork of glimpses from dinners, appointments, and events around Italy. In those first hours, it would have been easy to call it a routine misplacement and keep moving. But that's not who we're talking about. Instead of shrugging it off, Gökberk began retracing his steps, reaching out to people at each venue he had visited, and requesting that the right eyes look in the right places. The seriousness with which he moved said everything the headlines couldn't. Naturally, speculation arrived fast. Was it absent-mindedly slipped off in a bathroom and forgotten? Did it fall under the seat of a car? Did a stranger's quick hand seize an opportunity? Could it have happened during a lively gathering where attention drifted, one of those glamorous evenings where the music is louder than your thoughts? The theories multiplied, each one built from tiny fragments of public sightings and schedules. This wasn't a subtle ring either. It's the kind of jewel that enters a room before its owner does, unique lines, a carefully chosen profile, a design that speaks without saying a word. That visibility is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it makes the ring easier to recognize if it surfaces. On the other, it ensures that wherever Gökberk goes, eyes follow, and not just fans' eyes. What pulled the whole story into sharper relief was his reaction. He didn't wait for someone else to solve it. He spoke quietly to staff at restaurants, exchanged details with event coordinators, and worked with local contacts to review the most logical places it might have reappeared. There were no press releases full of drama, no grandstanding. It was focused, calm, and determined. And yet the tension was undeniable, because the emotion behind that search was real. As you can imagine, social media became the command center. Fans who adore Gökberk and who still cheer for the warmth and chemistry of his story with Özge began rallying online. They shared encouraging messages, asked for updates, and offered theories. Some compiled timelines of his recent appearances. Others compared photos snapped by onlookers, hoping to isolate the last clear image of the ring on his hand. A few even messaged venues directly, advocating like volunteer detectives armed with screenshots and goodwill. So what do we actually know about the ring? Officially, not much has been confirmed. But the murmurs paint a consistent picture, precious stones, an original design, and a significance that outweighs any appraisal. The quiet talk is that it might have been connected to a personal milestone or to a promise made in private. There are versions that say it could have been a gift, or even a piece with deep roots in family history. What comes through clearly is that to him, and yes, to Özge, this wasn't just decoration. It was a talisman. Italy has been a lively chapter in his calendar lately: charity collaborations, fashion-adjacent events, relaxed meals with friends, private celebrations, and a handful of photoshoots that had fans buzzing. Each setting opens a fresh branch of possibilities. Could it have slipped off during an outfit change? Was it removed before a shoot and not placed back? Was it taken off in a quiet moment in a restaurant and simply overlooked as the evening rushed on? Every plausible scenario adds another layer to the hunt. Some whisper that the disappearance might have been planned by someone who knew his habits. To believe that version, you'd have to accept that the person understood the ring's value and its schedule. When it was worn, when it wasn't, where it was left for a few vulnerable minutes. That's not impossible, but there's no firm proof to anchor those claims. Most observers still land on two options: a sudden, opportunistic theft or a genuine accidental loss that took only seconds to become irreversible. Whatever the cause, the result is unmistakable. Attention has shifted from project announcements and roles to a deeply personal search. And through it, a different portrait of the couple has appeared. We've seen the glittering premieres, the well-styled photos, the proud moments. Now we see the human side, the private check-ins, the quiet worry, the unglamorous patience. It's the kind of glimpse that reminds everyone that fame doesn't cushion everything. People close to their journey say that artifacts with stories matter to them: letters, small tokens from the early days, mementos that hold the weight of choices made together. That's why this ring matters beyond headlines. Maybe it marked a turning point, or commemorated a vow only they fully understand. Losing it isn't just about price, it's about meaning. And meaning is what compels you to keep looking, to call one more person, to ask one more question. Throughout all this, the tone from their side has been steady. No sweeping statements, no theatrics. Just a methodical approach, moving through a checklist, following actual leads instead of fueling speculation. Of course, that restraint hasn't stopped the curiosity. If anything, the quiet has made the murmurs louder. But the discipline of that calm is part of what feels so sincere about the search. As for next steps, there are a few reasonable paths. Reviewing security footage from the handful of places that fit the timeline could deliver a clue: a moment when the ring is visible, and then suddenly isn't. Discreet messages to reputable second-hand dealers and auction coordinators help build a net, so that if the ring reappears in catalogs or private offers, someone recognizes it instantly. Meanwhile, private inquiries continue in the background. What's striking is how much this story resonates. Who hasn't lost something that held their heart? A ring, a locket, a note, an old watch that smelled like a loved one's perfume. You don't just miss the item, you miss the life woven into it. That ache is universal. So when fans say, "We get it," they're not just being kind. They're remembering their own searches, their own nights replaying steps in their heads. There's another lesson in the air, too. Even people with teams and resources know that a moment's distraction can change everything. It's a reminder of the vulnerability that remains, no matter how polished a public life looks. It doesn't make anyone careless, it makes them human. And then there's the two of them, facing it together. Those who have followed Gökberk and Özge for years say their strength has always shown in the quiet moments, not just the red carpet ones. You can picture it: a late-night phone call to double-check a lead, a shared look that says, "We'll figure it out," a promise to keep trying tomorrow. That's the part that doesn't fit into a headline but tells the real story. We don't know how this ends yet. Maybe the ring resurfaces through a stroke of luck: someone turns it in, a staff member finds it tucked in the lining of a seat, or a boutique calls with a lead that breaks everything open. Maybe it returns because those methodical steps pay off, and a name aligns with a date, and the puzzle finally fits. Or maybe the answer is more complicated. However it unfolds, the determination on display suggests this won't fade quietly. Persistence is the through line here, and hope is right beside it. For now, all eyes stay on the places that make sense: the elegant restaurant where he was photographed a few nights ago, the private celebration where phones were scarce and laughter was loud, the studio where wardrobe changes were quick and frequent. Each checkpoint receives another look, another call, another sweep beneath the obvious. Fans continue to mobilize in thoughtful ways. Instead of spreading unhelpful rumors, many have focused on practical steps. Sending photos to a centralized inbox, verifying dates, and flagging any suspicious listings that resemble the ring's distinctive silhouette. It's moving to witness such coordinated kindness, the kind that feels more protective than intrusive. As the days pass, attention intensifies and then softens, the way waves do. But the core of the story remains a personal one: two people, one meaningful artifact, and a promise not to give up on finding what was lost. In a world obsessed with big reveals, this is a story of quiet persistence. To summarize where we are, a remarkable ring tied to emotion and history has gone missing during a busy stretch in Italy. The possibilities span from accidental loss to opportunistic theft, with no definitive evidence pointing to a single answer. The search is active and focused, handled with discretion. Fans are involved, supportive, and often surprisingly organized. And at the center is a couple whose bond seems to steady the effort, even when the trail blurs. We'll be watching for verified updates, a confirmed sighting, a security still, a recovered item that matches the unique markings people have whispered about. If that moment arrives, it will mean more than a solved mystery, it will be the restoration of a piece of their story. Until then, the conversation continues here. What do you make of the clues? If you've ever retraced your steps to find something priceless, you know the ritual, the mental map, the sinking feeling, the stubborn hope. Maybe that shared experience is why so many people feel close to this, even from miles away. Thank you for staying with us through this unfolding chapter. If this captured your attention and kept you invested, let us know your thoughts, your theories, or the detail you think might matter more than it seems. Share this with anyone who follows their journey or appreciates a mystery that reveals the people behind the headlines. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you're first to know when the next piece of the puzzle falls into place. We'll be right here when it does, ready to tell the rest of the story.